Welcome back, part 2 of our video here of consolidating for the Ethereum DAG size. So our 6 plus cards here are 6 plus because one card is 6 gigabyte. That is that 5600 XT Red Devil, and the rest are all 8 gigabytes. I will be throwing risers on from gpurisers.com. These 3 currently have them, as you can see the one right here for the 5600. And I'll be putting the other 3 on here, as well as I'll have to use a normal one here because I only have 6. So I will be using those risers on this rig, and if you want, you can go to gpurisers.com right now, enter promo code Rabid Mining for 10% off. That is $5 per pack. So yeah, great news there. First things first, I guess I will be using the HP server power supply that I got from Red Panda Mining. Now I would use it for everything except I only have the 6 cables, so I'm short on that, short on supplies here. It sucks, but anyway, so that's why I am going to be using that power supply for these 2 cards. Then for this plus risers will all be on PCI Express cables through that power supply, and I should have one left over if all my calculations are correct. So first things first, I'm going to have to get that power supply out of there, find my CPU cables and everything for that way it'll run the whole system, all the fans and these 2 cards here, and everything else will be on the server power supply. We will be running everything on 240 volt. As you can see, there's our PDU, which runs over to our corner wall right there, that everything is running off of. So yeah, I'll get started on this. First things first, I need a Phillips screwdriver. This is my Canadian Tire Mastercraft mining rig repair kit. It is my version of iFixit. But yeah, this is what I'm using. No, not sponsored at all. But this is my little kit here, so I thought I'd show it off, and it has almost everything you would pretty much need. So that power supply is now out, as you can see, and everything's unplugged from the motherboard, well, minus the GPUs, because we know this all works and boots up. So I got my CPU right here for my EVGA 750 watt power supply. I got my SATA cable. Oh no, wait, that's Molex. So I got my Molex, that will be running my fan controller for all the front fans, and then I got my SATA, which will be used on the SSD right here. So we do have everything plugged in now. We got our SSD through SATA, we got our CPU over here somewhere, where, let's see if we can get in there. There we go, CPU down there, and we got our Molex plugged into our fan controller for all the front fans. Now I might just do the RAM thing now. I'm going to throw in 4 gig of RAM and see if this will boot right now because we're still on beta. And then I'm going to flash, if it doesn't work, I'm going to flash it over to the normal full version of HiveOS, and then I'm going to see if that works. And if it boots up, then that means we need 8 gig of RAM. If you were to run the beta version, you only need 4 for the regular version. And as we see over there, we are only using 4 in that rig, and it is running the standard full version. So I'm going to try that right now. So I guess scratch that off the list. I put 4 gig of RAM in, and it booted up just fine. We were in Hive right there, and it started mining with those 2 cards. So on beta version, so 4 gig of RAM is just fine. I don't know what happened. Maybe, I don't know, something happened to me a month or so ago, 2 months ago. Maybe there's a bug and it's been updated, or I just didn't have the RAM in right. But so everything works with 4 gigabyte RAM, so scratch that off everybody's list. But I'm still going to flash this to the non-beta version, the full version of Hive, not beta, because I'm going to need the aggressive overclocks and everything on those 580s. So, and I'm not sure if that's in the beta, so I'm just going to go stock and roll with that for now. We are currently flashing the SSD to the original format, the full version, not the beta, and it's fairly fast when you use SSDs. Now, I don't have the special USB to to SATA adapter, so I have to put it into my computer, as you can see right there. Every time I just throw it in there, pull the front off, and flash it when I need to. Now I prefer SSDs over USB drives just because they are so much faster. I tend to run into problems too when I'm upgrading Hive through a USB. I got to do it manually, and even sometimes that fails, and then I got to reflash the whole thing, or your USB drive fails itself. But I find SSDs, it's just so much faster, especially when you're doing a lot of testing and trying to figure out numbers and get everything perfect. Just reboot, and you can reboot an SSD drive into HiveOS probably 5-6 times to the time it takes for one USB flash drive. So that is a bonus when using SSDs. We're all back, we're flashed, back installed there. Now all we got to do is plug in all our risers, power them up, and see if this rig runs. Now before I do that though, I just want to explain something. Here we are. These are the GPUrisers.com. You can see there's a PCI 6-pin on the back and the top, whatever's more convenient for you, but that's perfect. Molex on the side as well. Now it's highly advisable not to use SATA on risers ever. Yes, I'm using SATA on those risers there, but it's been running for like 2 years and being okay, and I always check to make sure the wires aren't warming up in there or anything, but that could possibly cause a fire. So always try to use PCI Express 6-pin cables like you see here on coming from here. Use those. I'm going to be using splitters. 2 risers per splitter is usually okay, and yeah, that's how I'm going to put this rig together. So I just wanted to point that out in case someone decides to do something wrong and they light a fire in their house, which is bad. Before I plug everything in, I just want to do a quick rundown of all the wiring and how I have these actually wired. So as you can see, I have a splitter coming to the two 5600 XTs. Then I got a splitter going between each, as you see right here. That's going to one of each card because they're single 8-pin. So one splitter is running 2 cards when it comes to the RX 580s, 570s. And now for risers, you can see I have a splitter going into each riser. That one kind of fell, but as you can see, 2 risers per splitter, which will be running off these. And like I said, I have 1 left over down there. So depending how the wiring looks, I could just run the last single cable up to that riser, but that's how I'm going to be powering everything, as you can see right here. Alright, I got everything hooked up. Everything looks like it is plugged in. Who knows, I could have missed something. There's a bunch of stuff. One thing, I put a little cable tie that came with my EVGA power supply around here because it was coming in fairly close to these fans, so I had to pull it back a little bit because I didn't want it to go in there. Might have to tighten up a bit. I'll keep an eye on that, but for the most part, I think we are all plugged in and ready to go. So I guess we'll power this up and see what happens. We have power. Nothing is on fire at the present moment in time, so that's a good sign. All fans are spinning. I'll go over to Hive and see if this thing is being located or not, and see if we can see our rig here. Hopefully we're all good. Everything is showing up in Hive. Just to clarify, this is non-beta, so this is just the standard full version of Hive, not using beta, and it is recognizing 5600 XT and the 5700 XTs. Now it's going to take a little bit of playing because, like as my previous video, I did flash these to non-XTs, so they are both on the same BIOS, so I can't really tell them apart until I put in my overclocks because one needed slightly more voltage or it'd crash, so I gotta wait for a crash to happen so I can figure out which one is which, and then I gotta fine-tune everything, and then we'll just get this up and running. So far so good. Here we are up and running. So our two 5700s are with the non-XT BIOS flash are at 55 megahash, our 5600 is at 42, and our 580s and 570s, all 8 gigs, are at 30 megahash a piece. So looking good so far. I had to do a minor tweaking here and there, but looks like everything is starting to run better, so right on. So we'll have a look here of everything hashing. There we are right there. Here's our 4 gig rig. Take a look at our total power consumption. Looks like we're around the 1810 mark I'll go with, and I was hashing about 1830, 1840, so dropping those 2 CPUs, that one motherboard, actually saved us about 20 watts or so. So there's some system power that we took away, and right on. So we're got our hash rates going, we saved a little bit of power consumption, and everything's looking good. Look at them risers, they look pretty sweet, huh? Pick yourself up a pair at GPUrisers.com. Coupon code Rabid Mining, 5% off, or 10% off, that's $5 off. So yeah, those risers are looking pretty sweet. Rigs are looking good. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Rabid out.